Probably the biggest thing I enjoy about Blessings of Hope is seeing people receive the food. Um, the ministries that come in and need, they come in and find something that they've been looking for, that they find, might just come in that morning or something, and it's a big blessing to them, to see that one specific product come in.
Welcome to Hopecast, where we share hope and inspiration about what God is doing in our personal lives at Blessings of Hope and in our community. I'm your host, David Lapp. In each episode, we'll explore the powerful ways that faith, generosity, and love are making a difference in those around us. I am joined today by Aaron Lapp. Aaron is the Inventory Control Manager here at Blessings of Hope. Aaron goes way back with Blessings of Hope. So tell us a little bit about the early days of Blessings of Hope, when you started back when you were a teenager.
So I have first memories of Blessings of Hope, I think, were when I was 12 years old. We were in my parents' garage, and Aaron Fisher would show up with a carload of food, and he needed every little person that was around to come help him unload his cars.
Yeah.
So I was introduced very early on how to unload those stacked up cars of food.
So over the years, you've seen a few changes at Blessings of Hope. What are some of the highlights that stand out when you think back to when you were 12 years old to now? Was that 19 years? How much has changed at Blessings of Hope?
We've gone through a lot of changes. I think one of the biggest highlights for me is seeing us get to the place where we actually have our own fleet of trucks. For a long time, we were using outside carriers for everything we did, and so to see us get some of that stuff ourselves was a big highlight. Having our own warehouses, for a couple of years, we were running everything out of a bunch of trailers, and we had our ministries climbing into reefers to try to get the food for their selection, and then moving into a warehouse where there's coolers and freezers. That was a big highlight, where we didn't have them climbing up and down.
So what he's talking about, for those of you that are not familiar with it, back in, I think it was 2014-ish, we had a lease signed to move into a 30,000 square foot warehouse, but the tenants weren't moving out. So we had already told our previous landlord that we're going to be moving out, and this, our move date was coming up. So we temporarily moved into my uncle's shop, and for the refrigeration, we had a couple of reefers that we were working out of. And I know Aaron Fisher talks about one Monday morning getting in there on a hot summer day, and there's ice cream running out the back of the freezer trailer that was supposed to be a freezer. And so there's been quite a number of changes. So yeah, it's been incredible to watch it come together, watch it grow, watch it, like you said, getting our trucks and then establishing that whole dispatching side of things, logistics side of things. So what's some of the favorite parts about Blessings of Hope that you enjoy?
Probably the biggest thing I enjoy about Blessings of Hope is seeing people receive the food. The ministries that come in and need, they come in and find something that they've been looking for, that they find, might just come in that morning or something, and it's a big blessing to them, to see that one specific product come in.
So as your current role of inventory manager, take us through a day by day. Like what does a typical day look like for you? I mean, I know there are probably no typical days, but so you get up in the morning. What does the day look like for you?
So it depends on the day of the week. Thursday is the busiest day of the week. I'll go through Thursday a little bit. So Thursdays we have starting when I come in, I have to make sure all the lists that every load that's coming in that day is on a list for the warehouse team to be able to inventory everything. And then I have to make sure that all the product is removed from the inventory system so people can't select from that product. And then make sure all the transfer schedules are set up for the next day, make sure that everything keeps flowing. And then also every now and then I have to jump on the forklift in the warehouse to help out, if things get a little chaotic and crazy.
Yeah, I can imagine some of the challenges you deal with. Just keeping inventory flowing, keeping product coming in, going out, trucks loading, unloading, and then you have the unknowns of a truck breaking down or whatever that you don't plan for, and then just being able to walk through that and figure that out. So, are there any current challenges that you're dealing with that you've been able to overcome, or what are some of the current highlights around the challenges side of things?
So the constant challenge we have in the inventory side is being able to constantly turn over produce. It's an ongoing. We have to make sure that
Keep it moving through so it doesn't spoil. Yeah.
keep everything fresh, making sure that we don't have spoilage, as keep everything to a minimum as possible, and then the unknowns of what's coming in that day. Is it going to be good enough to last till tomorrow, or is it going to have to go to compost before we can move through it?
Yeah. So with some of the things that are being worked on in the inventory team, I know we're looking at rolling out inventory management software, which we're doing a temporary system at this point, and actually doing a full rollout. So how's that going to affect your job? Just any thoughts on how that will help streamline things, or what that looks like?
Yeah, so the biggest thing that I see that's going to be a benefit to this is that the selection centers can see what we have available, and be able to select off of like the system what they need more of. If they are moving through a certain set of drinks or something quicker than other stuff, they can order that specific pallet instead of sending a generalized load of product. The other thing that's going to be a benefit for that is to be able to rotate produce quicker. Rotate, if a pallet number is sitting there and it hasn't been moved yet, is it still sitting here, or did we just miss the miss it going through? And keeping up on the rotation side of things.
And some of what you're currently doing with the temporary system will be automated and barcoded and streamlined. So we're looking forward to having all that in place and flowing seamlessly. And actually, with that, hopefully have an option where ministers can go online and select product right out of inventory. That we don't have to ship it, to a selection center first. They can order pallets and we ship it right out to them. So that's all part of the whole rollout with the inventory that I think is going to be a big step up. So, yeah, if pray for us as we implement the systems and strategies, that things would come together that need to come together, and for Aaron and the team that they were able to roll it out efficiently and use it as a tool to continue expansion.
I agree.
So, are there any God stories that you want to share yet before you wrap this up? Any testimonies or anything around certain inventory or certain products that you want to highlight, or do you feel like we've pretty much covered everything for you?
I think going back to the challenges, I have one more challenge that I think we need to cover.
Okay.
And that is we need more space. Our
Need more
warehouse
space.
space. Our warehouse space is being limited to what we can turn over in a day or two, or a couple of days. We have products that we could be getting in that we could sit on a little bit longer if we had the warehouse space to hold it.
So, share a little bit about how much product that we turn away. So far this year, I think it's around 110,000 pallets.
About 10,000 pallets.
10,000 pallets. Yeah, I was a zero off. But it's over 5 semi truckloads a day that we turn down on average so far this year. So.
And some of that is also where we get offered 5 loads of one product
Correct.
at one time.
But some of that stuff, if we could if we could pull those 5 loads in, then we could utilize it over the course of the next 6 months.
Yeah.
Because we get offered product that still has a 9-month shelf life on it.
Yep.
And if we had storage capacity, we could use that over the next 9 months. But it's definitely an interesting time here at Blessing to Hope, and I'm sure we're going to look back at this 10 years from now and talk about how it used to be, and I'm sure things are going to continue changing. So.
Yeah, it keeps happening that way.
Yeah. Thank you, Aaron, for what you do at Blessing to Hope and the way that you keep the teams flowing together and the inventory moving through. So I appreciate that.
To learn more about Blessings of Hope, check out our website at blessingsofhope.com. God bless you, and remember that you can bring hope to the people that you meet every day.